We've all heard of comfort food, the kind of food you like to eat regardless of its nutritional value, but
it just makes you feel good.
It is my professional opinion. We should get the hell out of here.
He is inside with us!
You don't really know much about Halloween. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red.
You smell that? It's your fear.
You will never get away! Stop! Stop it!
Happy Halloween.
There are ghosts around us all the time.
Present the estate of your Uncle Cyrus.
I've instructed my lawyer to deliver my last will and testament.
Key? Key to what?
This house is the fruit of my life's work.
Oh my God.
This house is not a house. We're in the middle of the machine, powered by the dead.
Can I rely on you not to get me killed? I guarantee nothing.
So continuing on, this one, you have an amazing story. You have great stories around this movie, so go ahead and tell them.
I get so many.
Take the stage.
I actually saw this movie when I got a free pass handed to me. I was in film class at the time, and we were required to see movies every week. And we could have like a free movie that we could pick whatever we wanted to see. So I chose this film because I had a free pass. I had no idea what I was walking into. And then, like, 20 years later, all right, 16.
Yeah, 20 years.
No, not 20, like, less than that. A friend of mine was doing tattoos and was like, hey, I'm doing the symbols from the ghosts from this film. And I was like, oh, really? So I traded a wig for the tattoo, and I got it. You can see it.
Yeah, just go ahead and put it up close.
Right here is the symbol of the angry princess. 1 week after I got the tattoo, I went to a very weird convention in a Macy's up in Kentucky, where I met Matthew Lillard, who stars in this film. And I told him that I, showed him the tattoo. And he's like, why did you get this tattoo from a shitty film? And I explained why I picked this specific ghost and her backstory, which was on the DVD. And he asked me if I made that all up. I'm like...
He didn't know.
I don't think he had any idea that they actually did plot lines and stories for each ghost on the DVD features. Because why would he?
Yeah.
But he was very kind-hearted and very sweet, and actually gave me an autograph from 13 Ghosts that actually said Skeet sucks, because Skeet Ulrich was supposed to be at the convention.
Yeah.
He then texted our photo to him because we were just from Riverdale and told him he was an asshole. So I'm of course like, oh my god, Stu has Billy's phone number. That's fucking weird. Yeah. So my horror brain was going into about 5 different levels at that time. So yes, the star of this film asked me why I got a shitty tattoo from this film like a good 15 years after the film came out.
For some background, 13 Ghosts was directed by Scott Beck. It was yet another remake of another film by William Castle. Only a little while prior, they did The House on Haunted Hill, which was part of Joel Silver and Robert Zemeckis' Dark Castle production company, which was pretty much all about let's rehash all of William Castle's work.
Yeah.
House on Haunted Hill, we'll get to that one year. I was admittedly skeptical about 13 Ghosts because I did read up on William Castle. The thing about William Castle was that he was a master showman. He was a guy who understood the importance of the theatrical experience, something that I really feel we need to get back to if theaters are going to survive. He was a guy who, in House on Haunted Hill, would hover skeletons over people's heads at key moments. He would, in the movie The Tingler, would have buzzers under certain seats.
Well, he created like 4D before 4D existed.
Yeah.
Like where it's not just about 3 dimensions, but the seat affects you. So, which actually happened to us when we went to go see The Last Jedi, and my dumbass ordered a D box.
Yeah,
but it
4DX,
was like
yeah.
4DX, which was light effects, lasers, your
misting,
moving, a mist, and I mean, like it was Star Tours for 2.5 hours, I swear to God.
It's kind of awesome.
The film is coming to you physically. It's not necessarily just 3D effects.
And William Castle was one of the pioneers who had this idea decades before they happened. Joe Dante did a great movie, Matinee, which was kind of a loving tribute to William Castle. So around the early 00s, they decided to remake all his films, and 13 Ghosts was notorious because one of the key things you could do is you had these visors where if you actually raise it up to the movie, you could actually see some of the ghosts lingering in the background. They worked that into this movie, and it actually worked really well.
It. I mean, I knew when I went to go see this film for the first time, I knew it was a remake of a film that had to do with putting glasses on, you could see the ghosts. Like, there was a shtick about that. So the film actually does implement, they have glasses that allow you to see the ghosts, but it's within the story. This is one of those remakes where I feel, I've never seen the original, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, we'll admit, we've never seen the original.
That they kind of expanded with the idea of, hey, a house with a bunch of spirits, you can only see them with the glasses, but why are they there? Is it 100% perfect? Hell no.
Oh no, it's O's as hell, especially with the editing, especially with the...
But I'm going to throw down, the thing I love about this film is, one, the production value. The creators of that set.
Go! What? God, touch me! The glasses! Wait! The glasses! You leave these! Catch!
And how they're shot. They know that set is sexy as fuck. They're lingering on that set like if it was a sexy lady. You have a naked ghost with her very large titties right there. No, man, we don't want to see that. Move aside, honey. We want to see that hallway. Like, and I kind of love it because the movie knows the house is the character.
Yes, you hit the point perfectly. Every great haunted house movie, the house has to be just as essential of a character, and this one is an amazing character.
This is kind of the coolest
It's
house.
the Decepticon of haunted houses.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is.
But one other thing I love is the ghosts are practical. They have prosthetics, they're shot. Yes, they're doing that quick editing thing, but they're not doing that cheap CG haunting bullshit. When the Jackal pops up and just...
The Jackal is an incredible design.
But when they pop up like that into the glass, you are like, oh hell no! Like, I would scream and fucking run in the other direction because that shit's scary.
That was the thing I loved about the way they used the glasses in there. They actually use them in really great filmmaking techniques. I love the bit where Shannon Elizabeth's in the bathroom. The camera goes through the glasses to reveal that the bathroom in reality is covered in blood.
Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, a lot of the good scares in the movie are when they put it on and the Jackal's like right in fucking front.
Well, and the Jackal attacks immediately. And I actually like that each ghost has a code name. The Jackal, the Hammer, the Juggernaut, so forth, so forth. So they have identities. They're not just some ghost of some person.
Yeah.
No, you actually kind of have stories. And if you have the DVD or the Blu-ray, you know their full story because for no reason whatsoever, they decided to do a full-on documentary on every single ghost to tell you their history.
Actually,
which I think is freaking amazing and way more effort than expected.
Around the time the 13 Ghosts came out, that was a heyday of DVDs. DVDs just come out, and one of the cool things that DVDs did back then was that they had these great interactive features, like these things where they actually wanted you to play with it, almost like a toy or like a video game. They actually wanted you to navigate it. The original, now alas, the Shout Factory Blu-ray doesn't have this, but in those documentaries, they actually allow you to select the artifact that goes with each of the ghosts, and you get these great narrated vignettes by F. Murray Abraham. Oh yeah, he's in this movie, by the way. And F. Murray Abraham narrates all of the stories of each of the ghosts, and
it's like a extra effort, but it's really kind of cool, and it doesn't technically add anything to this movie, but it's just interesting to know. Like, yes, the Jackal's constantly scratching at people. Yes, well, when you know his story, it's because his fingers are literally cut to bones because he kept scratching at the walls. Like, it's interesting ideas.
Did I just say there's a petting zoo downstairs? No! There are ghosts downstairs, Arthur.
Matthew Lillard has never done wrong, and I still feel in this film he has done no wrong. He is fantastic. He is awesome. I maybe had a crush on him since Scream, so
how can you not?
Of all the characters in Scream, Stewie was the one I kind of liked.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
kills a lot of people, and he's worried about how his parents are going to react.
I was like, no, it's okay. You know, like, whatever, man. Well, but he was so. I actually was sad when I saw the movie and he gets killed. I was really sad about that.
Well, and you know, the best movies that use Matthew Lillard are fully aware of his eccentricities, and the most memorable performances I've ever seen him do are the ones that understand how to use him. And I gotta say this about his performance in 13 Ghosts. They actually really hit home why he is slightly off kilter, because he is, I believe he's an empath. He's a
psychic that can feel energy in locations, and it's kind of an extreme version of like Untouchable.
Or the Dead Zone.
Or the Dead Zone.
Actually, more like an extreme version of the Dead Zone.
I have never seen the Dead Zone.
We'll work on that. He used that particular essential character trait to really hit home why Matthew Lillard's performance is very heightened and very exaggerated. And I gotta say, he puts his all into it. It's very energetic, but I also like that they establish right off the bat that he is very tortured. He takes money for this job, but you can always tell that he's not happy with this job. And I like that when the time comes, we realize he screwed up so bad that he's actually putting innocent people at risk. He tries to do his best to actually.
No, I mean, he's a good person put in crappy situations. I mean, that's simple enough. But he plays it well. He sells it. He sells the pain of his situation. He shows that he cares, and is actually a very likable character. I also think Tony Shalhoub does a wonderful job. Now, I actually knew him more from Wings, because I was a big fan of, when I was young, I watched Wings. So I knew him from that. And I just thought, I love that this was a father who his focus was, where are my kids? I'm going to find them.
Tony Shalhoub he's always been he always had an aura of warmth about him. It's like whenever he is meant to play any sort of patriarchal character, especially one who actually legitimately has affection for his young, you really sell the commitment he has to those kids. And Elizabeth is...
I mean, all right, you know what? Case in point, I had no idea she was actually an American Pie until, like, more recently. I kind of mixed her up with Jessica Alba a little bit. Like, I kind of mixed them up sometimes.
Ashamedly, yes. She's not in it as much as people think she is.
No.
It's like she disappears off screen.
I don't blame her for her reaction to when the Jackal shows up. I'm like, girl, I hear you,
Well, I mean, the first time she sees her, the Jackal pins her up against the wall and starts
slicing her apart. And it's like, okay.
Though, I can admit, in that slicing sequences, there are some funny shots. They're trying to make that shit tantalizing.
They're trying to make it, like, it's kind of hilarious because they try to make it like, oh, we might see something. Because, I mean, if you've seen American Pie, you've seen things. But they don't. But it's like, that's an interesting shot. I'm pretty sure the Jackal wasn't aiming for that.
Yeah.
Interesting. But then it cuts to just them escaping. But, I mean, early O's, they're going to throw whatever they can to the wall. And
but
I've accepted that reality. I mean, I'm not saying this movie's perfect. There are some things that I'm like,
I mean, there is CGI in the movie, but it's all CGI that serves the plot. It actually, there's not as much CGI as you would think in it.
The machine primarily.
The machine primarily.
And that could do some work.
Like, it could. But fortunately, the parts where it counts, where it's important, especially when you got all the ghosts designed by the masters at freaking K&B Effects.
The good shit's good.
The good shit really overshadows
let's
it.
The good shit.
I was incredibly skeptical about this film. Incredibly skeptical.
I was a fan, and I was like, just let's watch it.
Yeah, and I gave it a shot, and I really was blown away. First off, for as simply drawn as the characters are, I was still invested in them. I still really liked them. I mean, the only character who, ironically, I felt was kind of like tacked on was Embeth Davis' character. Embeth Davis, who most people, horror fans will remember from Army of Darkness, of course, film snobs will know from Schindler's List. He plays a basically anti-F. Murray Abraham extremist.
She's info dump.
Yeah, she's full-blown info dump woman.
She's info dump. I understand it. I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw this movie and she went dark, I got surprised. I was surprised. I was thrown off. I was like, wait, what?
I was mainly surprised just because, what?
I mean, it comes out of nowhere, but I kind of like how he gets cleaned up instantly. Like, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah.
It's kind of hilarious if you think.
But that being said, we do get an incredible death with her. She does get one of the best deaths in the movie.
No,
I thought I told you, greatness requires sacrifice.
Yes.
Her and the lawyer both have the best deaths in the movie. The
lawyer has the best one.
Yeah.
You even get a pun joke, like, later in the line.
You have the token babysitter character who makes it through, by the way.
I was actually proud of her because she she was the linchpin. It would not have gone well without her.
Yeah, and she actually winds up becoming one. Yeah,
and I don't blame her for saying "fuck this shit."
Yeah, at the end, there's a great just before the credits where she goes "fuck these goddamn white people." And you know what? You are totally entitled to that.
If it for me, I'm on the first fucking plane back to Newark. I'm sorry, family, Kathy, Bobby, Uncle, Ghost. I am sick of this nanny shit. I've had it. This was not in the job description. I quit!
I'm very rapidly against puns, but I won't lie, because it came at the expense of a freaking snooty ass lawyer who did get an incredible death. This lawyer gets vivisected by a glass.
It's practical,
it's so
and
cool.
It's beautiful. And I mean,
but then later on, and actually to its credit, and a great way to pick for a good gag is the distance, the time between when it happened.
That was at least 10 minutes.
A good 10 minutes before she goes, "Did the lawyer split?"
It's like you feel like part of yourself go, "Oh." But another part's like, that's a legit statement.
That's right up.
However,
that is right up there with Jason X going, "He's screwed." It's right up there with that.
I don't know. I mean, you're asking too much on that.
I will ask a lot about that.
The movie is a feast for the eyes of production value, of the sets, of the makeup effects. The ghosts are amazing to look at. And sometimes that's enough. And is it a deep story? Fuck no.
But you know what?
It's fun. It's not actually a long film. It's pretty quick.
And I'm also going to point something else out. The films of William Castle were not particularly deep either.
Yeah, really.
No.
He was more interested in spooking you in the theater with a ball flying by your head than the film itself.
This is not a dig against him. He knew exactly what kind of movies he was making. He was all about the experience. This movie wanted to take the ideas that he's laid down and try to build on them. Now, this is why, people ask, why do you do remakes? Why do you do them? A good remake takes the bones of what was done before and moves it in a different direction and does something different with it while still recognizably still being the same. That's the reason why I'm very pro the remake of Suspiria, because it is still recognizably that with the story, but because the director had his own singular vision for that story, it is a very interesting film in its own right. This film took those concepts and took it in a different direction, actually with a lot of imagination, and built it up into something extraordinary. I'm noticing a lot of people really showing a lot of love for this film recently.
A film doesn't have to be perfect to love it or enjoy it. And it's been 20 years since this film came out, and I think it deserves respect for its production value, for the ideas it was bringing. It did do something different with the material. The performances, everyone pulled their weight. Everyone did what they needed to do. And it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And there is nothing. Is it scary? Not really.
No.
Horror doesn't have to be scary. Fun fact. But horror does not have to be scary. It can be funny.
Yeah.
It can be hilarious. It can be interesting. It can be
uncomfortable.
Disturbing.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable. Lots of different feelings.
Yeah.
Horror is that one genre that is not defined by a single feeling. So scared. Listen, if horror required to be scared, there would be so few movies that would fit into horror.
Exactly.
This film is entertaining. It's interesting. The sets are wonderful. And it's just fun.
Yeah.
Simple enough.
Exactly. That's why I have absolutely no problem saying that this is a wonderful addition to our Discomfort Flicks this year. There you go. Happy 20th anniversary. And Matthew Lillard, it's not a shitty movie.
It's not a shitty movie. It's wonderful.
Watch it again.